this video. As you can maybe guess, the weather outside is terrible, so I'm staying indoors today for my training, and I thought maybe this is a good moment to talk a little bit about my winter training plans. The last race happened about a month ago, had a little bit of time off, so now I want to start it back up again in order to be stronger next year. I want to talk about what type of training I do and how I structure it with Training Peaks and Zwift later. But first, for myself, I looked back at last year to see what was good and what was bad. I guess that's always a good place to start. So last year in the winter I made a really structured training plan for myself. A lot of base fitness first, then increasing the intensity as we get closer to the season. Our season starts in April, so the last month is really where all the high intensity stuff happens. VO2 max, sprints, those kind of things. And fortunately, I did a lot of nice riding in April, but did a lot of it outside, abroad, so I didn't really manage to stick to my training plan. And that's why I felt the whole year what I was lacking a bit was the high end. So in these fixed gear races that I do, a lot of the efforts that we put out are these VO2 max efforts, threshold, and then maybe some sweet spot when you're sitting in someone's wheel when it's a bit more relaxed, but most of the time you're really pushing it. So the whole year I felt that I couldn't really do it. So this winter I'm going to not do as much base fitness, also inspired by Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert. I think their way of training is always high end. The cyclocross races, it's very similar I think to a fixed gear race. Basically you're sprinting all the time. Sprinting out of corners, sprinting up like sandy climbs. And then that type of fitness I want to gain as well this winter by doing a little bit of cyclocross, a lot of tough training sessions, and maybe some Zwift races. Another thing that I noticed is that a lot of the races have qualifiers, so you have to basically do 2 races on a day. First race is about 20-25 minutes for the qualification, and then the actual race is 40 or 50 minutes. And I noticed that when I felt good at the qualifiers, I didn't really feel good anymore in the actual race. Of course, you need to be good at both, so I also want to try to prepare myself a little bit for that by maybe doing 2 sessions a day. Maybe first a training session on Zwift, wait a couple hours, and then do a race, for example, and see if that prepares my body a little bit for the stress that it goes through on a race day. Right now I'm warming up in Zwift for a high intensity recovery training. There are blocks of 3 minutes above threshold and then 3 minutes slightly below threshold. So it's going to be a tough one, 1 hour, 15 minutes left, but that does make it a little bit difficult to talk. So I think I'll stop here and see you on the couch when I am going to look at how I plan my structured training. So I'll see you there. Alright, I finished my workout, took a quick shower, and now I'm ready to look at my training structure for the winter, which type of workouts I'm going to do. And as I mentioned before, I think I have a certain types of power that I'm lacking in a bit, and those specific types of VO2 max, higher end stuff, that is really important for these fixed gear races. So to check this, I decided to look at my power curve. You can look it up on Strava, I think only if you have a premium account, or Summit, or whatever they call it now. You can see a power chart of all your best powers. And to see how good or bad this is and where I can improve, I decided to check out this FTP table that I found somewhere sometime. I googled cycling FTP power chart or something. And it has different categories of riders, different levels, and then it shows what type of power you should have over 5 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, and your functional threshold. So I filled them in, and what you can immediately see is that the power that is lacking the most behind the others is my 1 minute power. I think this 1 minute power is typically what I would need for fixed gear racing, so really that should become what I'm good at. So my goal is to improve that and see if I can get that above the level of the other 3. Okay, now we know what type of training I want to do. I also looked at the race calendar for next year, and none of these races are confirmed yet for a specific date, but I know every year they're basically around the same time. So I'm gonna input these few key events. So 3 times Reto Crit, 1 time Granduro gravel race, Zurich Crit because I really liked it, and of course my home race, the Katendrecht fixed gear crit here in Rotterdam. I want to perform well at those races. So I'm gonna input them as my main goals for next year and then see if I can build an annual training plan on Training Peaks. So here we are on Training Peaks, and then I go to Annual Training Plan, ATP, edit, because right now it still shows my training plan of this year, and I'm gonna call it ATP 2020. It can start today, the 11th of November to the 16th of November next year. My current fitness is strong because I don't want to build any more base. That's what the little pop-up thing says. Recovery cycle every 4 weeks sounds good. My weekly average, I'm going to keep that the same as last time, so 550 TSS, and I'm gonna add those 6 events that I mentioned. Red Oak Grid, April 28, road bike. Bike 0 to 2 hours, A priority, save. Alright, now that's I think all the information it needs. So if I press save and recalculate, it's going to structure my training from week to week, showing me how much I should train and which type of training I should do. Now to explain everything that it did is pretty complicated, but the result is pretty easy. What it is telling me is how much stress I should have each week. So here you can see this week, they call it preparation. I need 350 TSS, so the amount of training is relatively low. And then it has 4-week training blocks. The first one, they call it base 1. You see you get more and more training every week. And then the last week is a recovery week, so it's lower again. So that's really cool. For the entire year now, I know how much training I should do, and I can start filling this in with the trainings that I want. So to do that, I go to my calendar. So what I then need to do is look at the total stress score that I can do this week, which says here is 350. So then I go to What's on Zwift, a really nice website where you can see all of the Zwift workouts that you can do. I always like, for example, the GCN workouts. And here it says VO2 and AC. That looks like the type of training that I want to do. So say I want to do this workout today. What I would then do is try to rebuild this workout in Training Peaks. I have on the left here my workout library. I've already replicated a few of the Zwift workouts. I did this last week. And now I'm going to add the workout that we just saw, which was called VO2 and AC. There should be a nice way to just download the workouts from Zwift and put them into Training Peaks, but I haven't found out how to do it yet. So I will rebuild it and then show you how to structure the week. Right, so I translated the workout into Training Peaks. I'm going to save and close it so it shows up in my workout library, and then what I do is I drag and drop it onto tomorrow. Voila. And then it starts to calculate the total training stress of that week. So I should do 350 this week. I already have 93 here, and I can put into those Ardennes ones. I can also put what I expect. So I expect about 100 TSS for every day. So I still need about 60 now. Perhaps I can do this workout and put it there. And then that's how I build my training weeks. I want to do mostly VO2 max workouts, so 2 or 3 of those a day. I want to do sweet spot workouts because they're very efficient, maybe also once or twice a week. Then I will do 1 or 2 longer rides a week, in the weekends usually, and especially at the end of the winter, so February, March. Then I really want to start doing these double sessions with a training session in the morning and a race or a Zwift race in the evening or afternoon. That's a lot of workouts every week, but I also want to not overtrain and have probably 2 rest days a week in which I can do something else. So for example, rock climbing or nothing. That's it for this video. I wanted to mention that I created a Strava cycling club, which you should be able to find either if you look at my profile or if you Google for clubs. So the Fernway.cc cycling club, we already have 206 members. I created it last week. And this week I want to give a special shout out to Patrice Hornes, who rode 420 kilometers last week. That's the most of any person in the Strava club by a long shot. So good on you, Patrice. Also, thanks for all the suggestions you guys gave on my last video of places where we should go with the Ride Beyond crew next year. I have tons of really cool suggestions that we're going to put on our calendar, and hopefully we will be able to do loads of those and maybe also meet some of you guys. So thanks for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.